Hi, this is Mike, WB4HUC, and I ran into something the other day that I thought I'd share with you. So, for the past week, I've been working the 13 Colonies event off and on, trying to get the stations on CW. So, when you do that, what do? You send your call sign, then you send an exchange with the 13 Colony station, and you're done. So, um, I I remembered something that I had known at one time and probably forgotten just because I don't use macros very much. But the K4 has the capability of storing a lot of stuff that you can then perform at the press of a button. So these macros are nothing more than strings of commands to tell the radio to do something. A macro can have one command in it, or it can have many commands in it, one after the other. So you can uh, accomplish several things by pushing one button on the radio to execute that macro, which might contain several commands. So, and then the other trick it can do is you can program a macro to simulate the pressing of a button on the front panel of the radio. So I have a K-Pod, which is the remote tuning knob um, for the K4. And the K-Pod has 8 function keys on it, or buttons to execute functions. So I thought, why not program one or two of the buttons on the K-Pod to send messages that are loaded into the CW message memories? So the CW message memories are these 4 buttons here, and I don't know if they all have something loaded into them, but I loaded the my call sign into message memory 1, and I loaded the exchange for the 13 colonies event into message 2. So I can always just reach out and press the button on the front of the radio. But the K-Pod is sitting on the tabletop right in front of me next to the keyboard for the computer, and also next to the my CW straight key and my paddle. So it's a little more convenient for me to push a button on the K-Pod to send those messages in those memories than it is to have to move all the way up to the radio. So it's a small thing, but important to me. So how do you do all that? Well, the first thing you do is you got to program your message into the message memories, and I did that. So how do you do that? Um, Press the record button, and then you can see here, he wants you to say which message memory you want to load a message into. I'm going to press M1, and now I've already done it, but you can see my call sign is here in message 1. So we just press enter. Wrong mouse. I do that all the time. So we just press enter, and then message 2 is going to have the exchange. So again, I press record and then M2, and this is exchange. It's very simple. I just send TU for thank you, an RST of 599. Same for everybody. I know it's not always going to be the same, but there you go. And then TX for my state, Texas. So we save that. So now we've got the messages loaded into the 2 message memories. And all of a sudden, my camera has gone grainy. Wasn't that way a minute ago. Anyway, I'm going to let that go for now. Maybe it'll fix itself. Or maybe I can fix it. There we go. I'm hardly an expert at recording videos. Anyway, uh, So now we got to program the function keys to simulate the pressing of M1 and M2. So how do we do that? Well, we go down here to this function software button, click it, and here are uh, macros recorded into these software buttons. So the ones in white are if you just press the button, and then the ones in yellow are if you press and hold the button. So I can turn the preamp on if I just touch it, and you'll see that up here. You'll see the preamp and the attenuator. So if I just press it and let go, there's the preamp 1. And then if I press and hold, there's the attenuator 3. Oh, I didn't think attenuator 3 worked on below uh, 15 meters. Anyway, what happens if I push it again? Turns it off and turns it off. So these are 2, 4, 6, 8 macros that you can program into these 4 buttons. But what we're interested in here is this. So yeah, so 2, 4, 6, 8. What we're interested in is this one labeled macros. So we're going to press and hold. Did it again. We're going to press and hold that guy, and that brings up all our macros. And so this is, you can program macros to be executed when you turn the radio on. And whatever you put in there will be executed to set the radio up for however you want it to be when you first turn the radio on. I haven't used that. That's a recent addition through a software update they made a month or 2 ago. I have not made use of that. There are 4 uh, buttons, physical buttons on the front panel of the radio labeled PF1, 2, 3, and 4. You can program macros into those. These are the ones that we just showed you on the screen, the software buttons. And you can, again, program 2 sets of macros into each button. The first one for the short press and the next one for the long press. So we did all that. And then the remote antenna button is not used to do anything with remote antennas right now. So it can be programmed to do something else. And I have it set to adjust the baseline of the pen adapter in the display. And then here are the K-Pod buttons. This is where we really want to go. So I have some of the buttons on the K-Pod program, some are not. But I went ahead and in function key 7 on the K-Pod, and it's the same thing. If you press it once, just press it and release, you get this command CWM1, and if you press and hold, you get CWM2. So the CWM1 and CWM2 are just descriptions. The actual command is over here. And remember, all you're telling this macro to do is to simulate the pressing of this button. Well, what is SW17? What is SW51? Well, those are documented. If you go over to the documentation, the SW is the command, and then the number indicates which button on the front of the radio you want to push. So if we go down to M1, that's 17, semicolon. That's what we did, SW17, semicolon. And then if we go to M2, that's SW51, semicolon, SW51, semicolon. And then I programmed function key 8 on the K-Pod to press the remote antenna button, which, as I described, just resets the baseline of the pan adapter in the LCD display. He is SW135, which is right here, SW135. And to indicate the end of the command, you use the semicolon. So there you go. The macro or the function keys on the K-Pod are programmed to simulate the pressing of M1 and M2. So let's see how that works. We can do a demonstration of that, I think, pretty easy. So no, don't make that mistake again. Let's get out of this. And you can see we're in TX test mode, which means the transmitter will not put a signal out on the air, but you can do anything that you want to do with the transmitter, adjust audio levels or adjust the speech compressor or whatever adjustments you want to make to the transmitter, you can make. And you can press the mic button, speak into the microphone, check everything, but it just won't put a signal in the air. And that's perfect for what we're going to do, because I'm going to send these messages by pressing the function keys on the K-Pod, and unfortunately I don't have no cameras, you can't see that, but trust me, you'll hear it. So let me turn the audio on to the radio, and so now when I press F7, I just press it and let it go. You're going to hear my call sign, and when I press and hold it, you'll hear the exchange. And that was 25 words per minute set right here. So that was the call sign. And then if I press and hold F7 on the K-Pod, so audio seems to be buzzing a little bit. I'm not quite sure why. It normally doesn't do that. Might be some noise, might be whatever. But anyway, there you go. So I've got the two macros programmed into F7, one to send the call sign, one to send the exchange. And that way I don't have to take my hand off the K-Pod to reach out and touch the radio, whatever. A little more convenient is all. And that's all we've done here, is made things a little more convenient. It all operates exactly the same way as it would if I had pushed the M1 and M2 buttons myself, which I'll do right now. So there's M1. And there's M2. Same thing. Just a little more convenient to do it down here on the tabletop from the K-Pod, because I got the K-Pod sitting next to the computer keyboard, and then I got it on the other side of the K-Pod is my straight key, and on the other side of that is the paddle. So everything I do is down here on the tabletop. So it's just a little more convenient to push the buttons from the K-Pod. There you go. So I hope this was useful to you. If you didn't know, if you have a K4 and you didn't know you could simulate the pressing of the front panel buttons, and if you don't have a K4, K4D, and now you know something perhaps you didn't know before. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I do thank you for watching.